I have a spicy hot question for you in math.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, this is totally unhinged and unscripted.
I wouldn't expect anything less from Kati Fernandez. After all, she is the Chief Content Officer at TOGETHXR, a media company founded by 4 of the world's greatest athletes: Alex Morgan, Chloe Kim, Simone Manuel, and Sue Bird. Kati is a sports media veteran who knows how to flip the script and tell stories that are fresh and worth dreaming about, without having to sacrifice what feels true to who we are.
That's the job that I wake up thinking about every single day, but I'm also still a human that contributes in the world and a person who is not just the title, right? Who is sort of a leader in her 30s trying to do well. And so I think a lot about where can I be that creates high impact but low lift in my everyday.
I'm Camila Rente, and this is Impact After Hours, a show about pursuing a life of impact on and off the clock. Kati, welcome to the show.
Camille, honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Excited for today.
I imagine with your job, you've met quite a few famous athletes. Who has left you starstruck?
That's such a good question. I don't know if I get starstruck in the traditional format. I'll be really honest, Camille. Partially because of my background and where I was raised and how I was raised, if I'm being honest. But 3 weeks ago, I got to meet Bobiger. And after spending almost 10 years at the Walt Disney Company, like 90 days post my departure, we end up in a similar suite. And he's someone whose leadership really inspired my leadership style originally. And so that was probably my first, is this real moment? Is this really happening? And I know that's like a dweeby one, but I'm more so someone who would I've seen Obama, never had a chance to speak to him, would potentially auction off a kidney if I had a chance to.
Yeah.
Converse with him and Michelle.
I feel like I'm getting into some of the meat of this conversation, which is going to be about books. As you and I both know, we're such book nerds. But because you mentioned Bob Iger, his book, or A Ride of a Lifetime, I believe is the title. I devoured that book.
So good.
It's one of my, I guess, favorite leadership books, if you will. But let's rewind a little bit.
Let's do that.
You are in this phenomenal company, but what drew you to media and sports? Were you an athlete when you were a kid? What were the things that you think you got into early on that might have set this career path of yours?
Yeah, that's a great question, Camille. I mean, I've been a very lucky girl, I will say. I never thought or imagined that this would be my career. It was not in the realm of possibility. If I take us even a sec further back, I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. I come from this town called Luperón, Puerto Plata. It's one of those beach cities in the country on the Northeast. And I grew up in a small town, 20,000 people or less. And so I wanted to be a doctor. I was a really asthmatic kid growing up. And so I spent a lot of time in the hospital in the Dominican Republic, to the point that they even made a TV for me. They wheeled in a TV to the room I always used. And so when I came to the States, sports was the way that I was able to converse and be in community without actually speaking the language. And so I played in high school. I played in middle school when I came to the States. But I'm 5'5", 130 pounds. Aspirations of professionalism were quite low, but I knew I had to get an academic scholarship if I wanted to go to college, just knowing sort of the humble background that I come from. And so I went to Holy Cross wanting to pursue a career in medicine. And when I was at Holy Cross, I met a mentor who introduced me to the world of sports and entertainment.
What is it about TOGETHXR that you think is special? And, in making your decision to take on your role, what made you think that this is the place? This is the place where I want to make an impact?
Oof, such a good question. I mean, I've been a really lucky girl. And I've mentioned that already here. And like, I actually didn't realize that Together was looking for a chief content officer. So in my mind, I was going for a coffee chat with our new executive chair. Her name is Nancy Dubuque. She's had a tremendous career in the entertainment industry. And unbeknownst to me, they were actually actively looking for a chief content officer. So for me, when I knew I was in consideration, the decision was very easy. I've always had a passion for women's sports. I've always had a passion for sports. I played sports. And how lucky am I to be able to come into a company that's less than 5 years old, already profitable, growing, and sort of has a graph that's up and to the right on the heels of female fandom being 800 million global fans by 2030. Like, to be a part of that makes me so excited to get up every day.
And I have so many questions about Together, just because, can you tell us or our listeners a little bit about like the story behind Together? Like, why does it exist?
Absolutely. Together was founded by Alex Morgan, Sue Bird, Chloe Kim, and Simone Manuel, alongside Jessica Robertson, who's one of our co-founders, in 2021. And the entire goal was to showcase that women's sports is a profitable business. And when you don't get a seat at the table, you build your own. And that's exactly what they did. Less than 2 to 4% of coverage in broadcast and traditional media entertainment was going to female athletes and their stories. And so we were a solution to that problem. Our core focus is grounded in content being everything from our newsletter, our social community that has over 4+ million followers, 100 million impressions monthly, to our studio business, podcasts, etc. We also have a very healthy commerce business. If you've seen an Everyone Watches Women's Sports shirt, you've seen Together. And then we do community events and have creators and athletes that are part of our network. And so we've developed quite the reputation for throwing iconic, intimate parties that athletes feel comfortable in, but also, brands come in and join us for.
And about that community and about that, I would say, really important mission that you have, if you achieve that, like what really is the impact?
Yeah, I don't actually think it's a matter of if, but it's a matter of when, and the when's already happening. The reality is that women's sports is the only sports category that's growing in double digits. You can equivalent it to the NFL in the 90s, right? Other sports teams are only growing at like 5 to 6%. Women's sports is growing in double digits. It's a sports fandom that, when you look at brands, has a higher engagement rate, yet for every $1 million spent in women's sports is the equivalent of spending $2.63 million in a male sports. Yet you're getting a far more engaged audience when you just look at women's sports fans being often the chief decision makers in their households, with leading 72% of all daily spending.
Apart from you being the chief content officer at Together, I know that you have your own nonprofit that you run with your family. What can you tell me a little bit about that?
I would say my family is a very cost-driven family.
Wow.
We've always have thought of ourselves as, I grew up with my parents always saying, don't wait to do good in order to do well. And I think that's something that we can all sort of live by in the world. And so for me, my sister and I, when we were 19 years old at Holy Cross, we had full academic scholarships. And we recognized that although we were raised in the Dominican Republic, there was really nothing special around us outside of the access to education and opportunities that we had by our mom immigrating into this country and coming here and putting us into the Cambridge school system in Massachusetts. And so we wanted to provide that and be a solution, even though we were like 19 years old. So we fundraised $1,000 from professors and like friends of our family, and went back to the DR and identified 30 leaders at the time, brought them to a 3-day retreat. And we were like, how do we make the community better? And it was really clear. It was part education and removing the access to barriers there. Every student in the Dominican Republic has to wear a uniform. So for every kid that starts kindergarten, there's a drastic percentage of how many actually graduate from high school. And so we wanted to be a solution to that. And now 10 years later, we have 2 offices. We've sent over 40 students to college. We provide them all full scholarships to college. We get them in high school, and they are their own leaders on their own right. They do beach cleanups, they feed the poor, and we are feeding them via resources and safety and a space and office that they can go to every single week and every month.
Okay, so we're doing an Impact After Hours first, which is I'm asking my husband, Maverick, to join us in this episode. For those of you who don't know, Mav, as we call him, is our Chief Creative Officer. He is my co-founder in everything, including our 4.5-year-old boy. And he helps me run this ship too. So I want, maybe like it's for the two of you, like what is your advice for anyone out there who is currently maybe working with family or wants to pursue something with, a loved one, like an actual, either, like you, Kati, a nonprofit, a company or like some type of project. Maybe I'll start with Kati and then I'll turn the mic over to Mav.
Yeah, no. And I appreciate you pressuring me on like, how are you doing this in 24 hours? I mean, the reality is like, I've always been very cautious that like, I probably put in 14, 15 hours in my just job as chief. That's my first job. That's the job that I wake up thinking about every single day. But I'm also still a human that contributes in the world and a person who is not just the title, right? Who is sort of a leader in her 30s trying to do well. And so I think a lot about where can I be that creates high impact but low lift in my everyday. And so like I have created very standalone ecosystems that sort of run themselves, especially as I've grown in this life. Like 19-year-old me looks very different than 32-year-old me. And like my priorities are different. And obviously running a day-to-day of this business is most important. But my life coach and therapist says one thing that I'm working on for next year is I over-index in girl bossing, but I also want a girl have fun and girl lay down. I think it's a balance of all three of those things. And so I have a great partner who checks me on the other two.
On the other two. Okay, well, Mav, no copying. No copying Kati's response. I'm glad that we have it on record because if we did not, I was going to write it down because I might steal some of that and try to pursue that myself. But yeah, Mav, this is a first. Whatever you're about to say, it's I'm hearing it for the first time, like everyone else.
This being my first episode, I didn't even realize I was going to be asked a question. I thought I was just here to like enjoy this conversation and maybe say like a thing or two. But well, it's funny because this question, to me at least, implies that it's like there's a lot of difficulties that come with it, which is the case. Like it does introduce some difficulties, but like it also provides a lot of advantages. Like whenever I have to work late or Camila has to work late, for example, there's like a full, complete understanding of why that needs to happen when you work with someone who's that close to you. So I think like, that authenticity, bringing that into, using it as an advantage is my tip. Like those things that you don't get from just working with a colleague or a friend, even using those things that you get from that intimate relationship that you have with someone will be really helpful.
Okay. Well, I love that. I love the raising of the hand. It's just a classroom.
I am like so dweeby. No, Camille, I have a spicy hot question for you and Mav.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. This is totally unhinged and unscripted, but
Go for it.
I love my family and I love my fiance. He definitely, as I mentioned, keeps me grounded and like understands. Like yesterday, he had to like unglue me from this computer because I was on from like 9 to 9. But like my mom keeps being like, you should hire me. I was like, ma'am, I would fire you in 2 seconds. Like, how do you both work through those difficult questions? Because like, I'm thinking about my immediate family and I'm like, could I work with any of these amazing people that I adore? And the answer is absolutely not.
I'm on the same boat. I'm on the, and it's not a spicy. I am willing to spend an entire episode maybe just on that. So Kati, thank you for the episode theme that we might get into in a future episode of Impact After Hours. But okay, so I think just on what Mav was saying earlier about some things, taking advantage of some things. We did fall into this with like a complementary skill set. So I'll start there. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, we forced ourselves to found Hueman Group Media. We did not. And to, again, maybe related to what you were saying, Kati, about family members, and there's the love that you have for them that is obviously familial, and because biologically you're related to them. But I think if they do not have the skill set that you're looking for, it's gonna be a no. It's gonna be an absolute no. And because
that's such a good point.
Yeah, and because you love them and they love you, it will be, well, it might be a difficult conversation, but I think they do want to see you succeed, right?
Sure.
And that success requires you putting capable people and competent people in the same room.
And to be clear, like working with Camille is like a big, thing in my life, obviously, and we do complement each other in so many ways. I'm so happy like that I get to work with her. The same cannot be said to, say, my parents or my brothers. That's a completely different dynamic that I don't want to tell it.
Well, no, I also just think like dynamics, like duos are challenging, right? And so like I have a lot of respect for what you and Mav do, and because it's a dance and it's a fine balance, and when it works, it's really special as well.
Yeah. I agree. I agree that when it does work, it's a story in itself that hopefully we give that inspiration to others who are thinking about it. But I love that Mav debuted in this episode.
Oh, we should do conversations and cocktails as a segment. Now I'm just Mav. I'm just pitching segments now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you are the chief content officer. That is your job.
It's kind of a good idea, right?
It is.
And listeners and viewers who are just like, who heard that idea, it's a bad idea. Don't do it.
Don't do it. You'll never be able to pull it off. Okay. For young women who are listening to us, who want to enter the media space and they want to develop a strong voice, what guidance would you offer them?
Great question. I would say there's a viral TikTok and Instagram reel right now that's sort of like having people say like, it's important that if you want to pursue this and your family tells you not to, or someone tells you not to, it's important that you don't listen. And that meme has never been more real and accurate. I would say like that's sort of been the series of my life and my career, right? So I would say like it's important, even to go off our holiday theme, for you to like really listen to that element inside of yourself that sort of guides you. And understand what's rooted and makes up that ethos in there. That's sort of your compass, your internal directory. Because I have become very, 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 very cautious of taking advice from people who don't know where I'm going or who've never been to where I want to go. And so I think that would be sort of the biggest guidance, is like even people who love you. When I told my family I was moving to LA after graduating from college, they were like, they gagged. Camille and Mav, like they were gagging. They were like, that's not what we do. And if you look at statistics, most Latino families, especially those that immigrate to a country together, live within a 10-mile radius of each other. So 3,000 miles versus 10-mile radius is entirely different. And so like their desire to keep me close was grounded not out of fear of me succeeding, but out of programmed, like somehow programming that we've all picked up along the way. And so it's important in those moments that we don't listen.
I know Mav is nodding here, and we can relate to that so much. We're Filipino immigrants. We moved to New York City like over a decade ago. And when I did say like, well, first of all, I had a career as a lawyer back home. And imagine my parents' face. Well, I guess I told my mom first that I wanted to not be a lawyer anymore and literally switch careers to what career I didn't know back then. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was not in the right place. Like she literally thought like I hit my head somewhere Like, what is she saying? Like, what is this conversation? Is this a joke? But then I did it. I did the thing. I just like first took one step, which is like just do research and just like talk to people, right? Like I think it starts there. Honestly, like I guess if you were to talk to me like back then, like more than 10 years ago, I would not imagine that I would be doing this, like literally all of this, meeting amazing people, building our team, building our company. So not to say that don't always listen to your parents, but literally, I think what you said about talk to people who have done it, honestly, it literally could change your life. But it's just a matter of like talking to people and finding your own way.
1,000%.
It's not going to be easy. But yeah, Mav, I mean, I guess same with you because the two of us moved here.
Yeah, it's that programming, right? Like when you decided to shift careers away from being a lawyer, right? The programming of you're a lawyer, you're already set.
It's a stable career.
Like you're good. Even like when we decided to move, my parents are like, you're comfortable here in the Philippines, right? Like, why do you need to, like, it's going to be hard if you immigrate, right? You're going to have to a lot of extents, like start over. Why are you doing that to yourself? But, there's like a bigger vision going, and yeah, you just have to trust, what your heart's telling you, like your own instincts, where that tug is, pulling you towards.
Like one of the things I've thought a lot about recently is like the fear of not having really lived.
Yes.
Because we've just been conditioned to like follow rules and do things. And so like, I love what you guys shared about coming from the Philippines and like even just like removing the fear of like the unknown and failure, because the reality is the biggest failure we can all have is not having lived.
Oh my God.
And we should all figure out what that means.
I'm thinking because, you work in a company that is all about women's sports. So sports, games. I want to play a game with you.
Ooh, that's fun. I've been on a lot of podcasts and no one's ever played a game.
No one's ever played a game with you? Oh my gosh. Well, I want to do that with you. And I want to kick us off with a lightning round.
Okay.
Of seemingly random questions. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
What is the most interesting food you've ever tried?
I went to China and I was offered horse brain. I can't say I tried it because I was a pescatarian for like 18 years. So I just defaulted to that and became a full-blown vegetarian in China for those 2 weeks. And then I'm just not brave. Camille, I'm a visual eater. I'm like one of those weird people. Someone was like, what's a visual eater? I'm like, it means I'm 4 years old. And if something looks bad, even if it's delicious, I cannot eat it. Like there is a 0% chance I can engage and eat it because my eyes won't allow me to get to the part of taste. I'm not a smell person. I'm like, I need to look at this and it needs to trigger a response of me wanting to engage.
I love that there's a whole process there, but I'm pretty sure you're not alone. And also I'm an adventurous eater, but you said horse brain. And I don't think I've ever heard of that. I don't know what that looks like. I'm probably going to look it up and we're probably, I'll see if we can flash something in this episode, just so for people to know that exists. So thank you for educating us on that. Okay, one expression or saying you probably use too much.
One expression or saying I probably use too much. I almost wish my team was here. Or my fiance. Yeah. I mean, corporate wise, I probably like in the last 3 months, I've said the word at the 1 yard line, like probably a gazillion times.
At the 1 year line. Okay.
At the 1 yard line. Yeah. I'm like, it's at the 1 yard line. But that's also because I worked on Chad Powers and he like literally fumbles the biggest game of his college career, Chad Powers in the show.
Yeah.
At the 1 yard line. And so like, that's always like a visual reference. That's top of mind. It's either you bring it home or you like drop it. And so that's the one that comes top of mind right away.
It's a good one. Okay.
I'm full of Kati-isms though. Like I'm sure if we ran a survey and you just like tagged my Insta, I'd be curious what people would come back and say. Cause there's definitely like, I'm a quirky person. So I'm sure there's a ton.
Okay. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, go-to karaoke song. Easy. Check Up On It. Beyonce. It might have been Destiny's Child. Ooh, boy, you looking like you like what you see. Remember that?
Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do.
She already gave us a preview.
Yeah. And also, if it was Destiny's Child, then you would have other people with you. Or you do all the voices.
Oh no, I will do every voice.
You do all the voices. There you go.
I will do every single voice. I mean,
Why not?
let's be honest. Also, though, like, it's almost like Check On It and Cater to You. It's like
Oh my God.
very heavy Beyonce.
Yes. Okay.
And so it's easy to do all the voices.
I love how you are saying that it's easy to do Beyonce.
Oh, I'm a terrible singer. I mean, like, I sound like
That you're the perfect person to go to karaoke with. Then it's more fun. It just is.
okay, Camille, the worst offsite I ever went to for a work event was my boss at ESPN had us go to a recording studio. By the way, HR was present. And as our team bonding, we were literally recording a song. And it was like 4 of us. Mind you, the demographic, you can only imagine. Like, there's people on the team. This is historic reports. At the time, I was in my late 20s. And then we have people in their 50s. And so, like, we were all coming up with one song in a 2-hour recording. And it was supposed to be team bonding. And I was just like,
What song could I possibly sing?
oh no, we had to all write our own lyrics.
Oh, like original.
Oh, you had to write
Wow.
your own.
Oh, it was like an original song that we would create. I have it somewhere. It's like a 7-minute song. I rapped on it because although I can't sing, I was like, I will lay down a bar in like 2 seconds if you let me. And it was it's the weirdest song till this day that I've ever heard.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have a recording of it?
I'm pretty sure I can find one somewhere on like my Google Drive.
Yeah, finally come to our favorite question here at Impact After Hours, which is, what is your go-to after hours media? I feel like we already covered this, which is, what have you been watching, reading, or listening to lately? So you could either answer all of them, or just pick one that's like your current thing.
I am a huge Survivor fan. So like in a world where there is no longer appointment viewing, I would say Survivor is the closest to appointment viewing I have, to the point where like I download threads to figure out if there's other co-viewers out there every Thursday.
That is insane.
I know, it's so dweeby. You guys, it's so dweeby.
Love the dweebiness. I love it.
And I go on threads and try to follow chatter, but like it's not as an engaged community as like Love is Blind or like
yes.
Love Island. Like I need people to step it up here. That's what I'm saying.
That is the PSA. So aside from people joining you, anything that you might want to share with our listeners that's coming up for you, or that's coming up for the brand?
We have some really amazing announcements coming up. We're turning 5 in March. So keep a lookout for us and some of the amazing work that's coming out. And so I'm excited for y'all to watch alongside of us.
Thank you for joining us on Impact After Hours.
Thank you for having me. And Mav, welcome to your debut episode.
It being my debut, I would like to advocate against it being an extended episode, and let's just have Kati back on.
We will. That is, I think, watch out for announcements here.